Welcome, hipsters. No Jim Mora today, so let me say it for you. Playoffs! That's right. We're talking more playoffs, inevitably, like we're going to be doing for the next 2 months here on Shots from the Hip.
Welcome to Shots from the Hip podcast. Brought to you by Royal Retros on the Shotgun Sports Network. Here are your hosts, Jason Bizik and Oz Davis.
That's right, hipsters watching on the Shotgun Sports Network YouTube channel or listening on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons and hit the notification bell to be notified when we post this show or any other videos. Welcome to episode 15, and I have no clever title for this episode, but it's all playoffs and NFL draft. So
There you go. That's the title. No clever title.
no clever title.
There you go.
Yeah, so we got a lot on the go this week. This week is pretty busy. We got NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, NFL draft, CFL draft is tomorrow. Like there's no shortage of things to talk about.
Nope. Nope. Just a shortage of time.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's go. Well, all right. Let's go NFL draft. That's the oldest, right? We'll do oldest first. Age before
Okay.
beauty. Age before beauty. Okay. So, of course, no surprise, your boys drafted Mendoza.
Mhm.
All right. So, what did you make of the rest of the Raiders draft? See any down draft picks that you liked?
Defensive back Traden Stukes was a pretty good pick. He's a very fast kid. He's 4.3 speed. He's versatile because he can play slot or safety. And he fills a major need in the secondary because the Raiders secondary is terrible. So hopefully he's going to shore that up. On the edge, they drafted Kieran Crawford in the third round. And he's a hell of a pass rusher, apparently. And he will fit the new defensive scheme shift that they got going on. They'll be doing more hybrid looks this season, I believe. So he's not going
Oh, the Raiders are going to play defense this year. That's good.
It's looking that way. It's looking at least judging by the draft, they drafted a lot of defense. What else? Who else did they draft? Running back Mike Washington Jr. He adds explosiveness behind Ashton Jeanty, of course, who will probably carry most of the mail this season. Yeah, so I mean they definitely did good in committing to a certain direction that they were going. They definitely focused a lot on defense. They drafted a franchise quarterback or future franchise quarterback. And then what they did is they built around him. I mean, they got the running back to back up GNT. And I think it'll be a pretty balanced offense and defense this year. I think we may actually squeak into the playoffs or better.
Playoffs? We're just trying to win a game, man.
Yeah.
We're just trying to win a game. I mean,
trying to win two or more or three.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to win 4 games.
Yeah.
Okay, but seriously, the problem is that you guys are in that division, right?
Oh God.
I mean,
it's a scary division.
That's going to be a tall order to squeak in like that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
No one is expecting the New England Patriots to be as good as they were last year. However, the word is that what didn't happen on trade day was A.J. Brown did not get traded. However, the word is now that probably on 12:01 a.m. June 1st, he will be traded to the Patriots. Not sure why. That's when the trade window opens, but there's also some contract incentive stuff in there and blah, 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 blah. But basically,
what do you read into them waiting? Like, why wouldn't they have traded him before the draft to get?
I think it's contract. I think it's contract
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
I think it's contract incentives. Stuff like that. So nothing interesting, unfortunately. No scheming going on here. if they had actually traded him to the Rams, they probably would have gotten that 13 pick. That's probably what they wanted, and the Rams said, "No, we have a plan here. So we're not going to do that, and we have some good receivers, a couple good receivers anyway." So,
yes. Speaking of that plan,
so
why don't you talk about the Rams? And of
oh,
course,
I just
their
I
first
just
pick was quarterback Ty Simpson.
I just wanted to finish up on the AFC playoffs. Look at
Yeah.
far ahead look. I mean, to squeak in, the Raiders are gonna have to get one of those wild card spots. And again, who's your competition? Cincinnati, who people assume will be better. I'm not sure that that's the case.
That's going to depend
They
on
haven't
Burrow.
yeah, they haven't been better for a long time. Yeah, but
Yeah.
still, your own division has the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
And they've got a stud quarterback, and I don't recall them being even in the championship game recently. So, that's not exactly relevant. And so these are your competition. You're looking up at a vastly improved the Chiefs, and I will talk about them later on with regards to the draft, because I thought they had a great draft. Um, and you've got Denver, who I don't think will be as good as they were last year, but should be a contender with that excellent defense. So I don't know. The Raiders might still be looking up. Mendoza, probably your upside is Mendoza wins Rookie of the Year.
Well, here's the question. Now, I hear a lot of podcasts saying that Mendoza is not going to play this year, and that it's going to be all Kirk Cousins, unless
Oh yeah,
injury losses come in. Do you
Which
agree with that, or do you think Mendoza is going to be thrown right to the wolves?
I thought Mendoza was just going to go. To be honest, I thought they were just
I
gonna
hope
do-
so, because I want to see what he does.
I don't know. Kirk Cousins is not a guy that you want to sit a year behind. Speaking of it, that's actually a better segue. Is that okay? So here's the Ty Simpson pick by the Rams. Okay, now. So one important thing to remember, the Rams have only had one first-round pick since 2017. That was in 2023 when they picked up Jared Verse, who ended up being quite the stud for them. So they're not much of a first-round picking team. Okay, number 13, Rams take Ty Simpson. Since then, everyone has been questioning, I thought you were going for the Super Bowl this year. Well, yeah, we are, but here's the thing. All right, by the same token, let's say we're going for the Super Bowl this year. Let's say we have a real shot, especially to finish in the top 4, which we've basically been threatening the past 4 seasons, right? At very least, where the Rams are a contender every year. All right, that means that next year, Rams get 30, 31 pick. Are you going to get a quarterback there? No. What are we talking about? Playoffs? No, we're talking about draft picks, right? Okay. The other thing is this. Look, the Rams got a first-round draft pick. His name is Trent McDuffie. That's the thing. Look, the Rams don't need to make this draft pick if they want to go defense, and if they want, a 26, 27-year-old guy who's proven in the league. That's the draft pick. That's who the Rams took in the first round. This is a move towards that Super Bowl or bust season. Ty Simpson, I don't know how awesome he is. This is one of the things that's been driving me crazy is Alabama Crimson Tide puts together these monster seasons, and then teams draft their quarterback. Well, okay. Here's a list of the Alabama quarterbacks taken since 2005 in the first round in reverse order. Okay. Bryce Young. Jury's still out on Bryce Young. Mac Jones, who had about the quickest NFL career arc of anyone besides Jimmy Garoppolo. Tua, who we know about. Jalen Hurts, the most bizarre Super Bowl MVP ever. Here's a guy who his teammates are leaving him because they can't stand the guy. Before that, AJ McCarron, remember this guy, and Brody Croyle. Okay, now come on. Plus, you could argue that Alabama has the worst two quarterbacks in the NFL Hall of Fame, Joe Namath and Kenny Stabler. I mean, yes, champions and all that, but not exactly stat hogs that will work in an NFL like today's NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this respect, probably the best thing the Rams can do is sit him a year. Let's do the Aaron Rodgers thing. Let's do the Patrick Mahomes thing. You've got your starter. You've got a star quarterback, all-star quarterback. Let him sit for a year, especially if you think he's a Mac Jones. Let him sit for a year. Don't throw him in.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the reverse situation of the Raiders. I think we're on. I mean, the Rams think they're on track for the Super Bowl. Yeah, great. So now we have a rookie second stringer. So, I mean, again, like I don't understand the problem. In the rest of the draft, look, Les Snead has been nailing these drafts year after year, picking up guys in second, third, fourth round. I liked our pick of a tight end in the third round. I forget the name off the top, but he looks pretty good. I don't understand. I don't understand the outrage here, the strike calling on this pick. I mean, maybe a bit of a stretch, but I think the Rams can't afford to do that this year. I mean, the McDuffie trade was key. They, of course, the Rams, after trading McDuffie, after not having such a great season in the secondary last year, want to rebuild that secondary. So, you can do a lot worse than starting with Delane in a cornerback-heavy draft this year. So I like that. Mm-hmm. And I also thought it was interesting that Garrett Nussmeier, who was getting a lot of out of LSU, who was getting a lot of positive, getting a lot of positive press going into the draft, fell all the way to 249.
Yeah,
and he was
and of all teams went to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, hey, look, is Nussmeier ready to start tomorrow? No, you could do a lot worse than letting him sit behind Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And again, we got to remember second string quarterbacks matter in this league in football. So I thought that was a really interesting pick. I thought the Chiefs had an interesting day, considering that usually the Chiefs draft board is a snooze. It's all pragmatic linemen. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, yes. I liked, interesting draft by the Cowboys. The first two rounds, they pick up safety first round, they pick up Caleb Downs, safety, and Malachi Lawrence, an edge rusher. Pretty wild because the Cowboys have that high-powered offense in place, and now they seem to be building the defense based on young guys. So should be an interesting season for the Cowboys next year. I hate to be optimistic about Dallas, but wow. Could be interesting for them, especially as it seems the Giants are still a ways off. Washington, who knows, and the Eagles, trending downward. So could be an interesting season for the Cowboys. Nice draft for them, I thought. Let's see. I felt bad for Jeremiah Love. Poor guy. Drafted number 3 overall, so at least he'll get paid. But going to the Cardinals. I don't know about that. The Cardinals also took Carson Beck out of Miami in the third round, first pick of the third round. So maybe this is a future play for them. We might. I mean, this is the Cardinals, so we could see Beck starting for them before the end of the year. So feel bad for those guys. And also, I was looking for, on day 2, I was looking for second round steals. Um, I like Denzel Boston. They were going at number 7 in the second round. Unfortunately, he went to Cleveland. So got to feel bad for that. And I guess the last note that I have here is Mr. Irrelevant is a guy named Red Murdoch, a linebacker from Buffalo who went to the Denver Broncos. And it was pretty wild because Denver had the last 2 picks in the draft. So, were they thinking to themselves, okay, which guy am I drafting last? It's not like, it could have been the offensive lineman that they drafted instead. But nope.
The last kid in the schoolyard pick.
Right. Now, of course, as we know, there's no shame in Mr. Irrelevant since the San Francisco 49ers turned that pick into an NFC champion quarterback. So no longer the joke it used to be, but they still do the party and the ceremony and stuff like that on some island. So good for him. You got to like that free vacation weekend. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on the draft?
Yeah, so I keep hearing people say that the Rams didn't get any better in this draft, but they certainly didn't get any worse. I mean, they were one game away. They were one game away from the Super Bowl last year. I mean, that they did need to improve.
Right. And a couple of years before that, they were one play away. Last year, if it weren't for that bizarre 2-point conversion against Seattle in week like 17 or 16 or whatever it was, I mean, we might have been in the Super Bowl, and we certainly would have beaten those Rams. I mean, those Patriots. So come on now. I mean, this is a contending team perpetually, and that was really the thing. Is that it was like that year the Alouettes won the Grey Cup. The following off season, they did almost nothing, which was one of the best things you could do, right? And I mean, again, if the only major off-season move the Rams made is Trent McDuffie, what else can we ask for? That was okay, maybe better special teams, because special teams ultimately doomed this team last year. That was all it took. Had we had an average special teams unit, again, probably would have been in the Super Bowl last year. So no one can complain. I mean, I don't understand the critique of the Rams.
Yeah,
I don't.
The only other things I'd like to add is that it was interesting what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers were apparently on the phone to make a deal to draft this Mekhi Lemon kid.
Right.
And literally while they were on the phone, the Eagles came calling and they traded picks. Is that what happened? And somehow the Eagles got the pick and stole them. I think that's how it went down, if I heard the story correct.
Yeah, the Eagles are known for these draft day shenanigans lately. But yeah, I can't believe the Cowboys took the bait again, from an in-division team. My God. If Mekhi Lemon turns out to be anything, man, it's just another excuse for angst from Cowboys fans. It's just like, wow. Yeah, I liked the Eagles also took Jonathan Grenard in day 2, who I liked very much as well. They traded for that too at the Vikings. So I liked that pickup for the Eagles. So I mean, the Eagles are trying to defy the trends here. They're trying to defy what looks like a downturn, but the defense should be awesome. Again, for the Eagles. So yeah, they had a good day.
And then the only other surprise to me, I'm really surprised that Max Crosby didn't get traded for a higher pick. I thought that was really going to happen. but he is still a Raider for life.
Yep.
For this year.
That's what I was thinking. The Eagles would rather have Grenard, right? So at least, well, let's see what happens on June 1, right?
No, true.
I mean, apparently, that's when the trade window opens, and apparently a lot of teams are waiting for that. So we'll see what happens. It must be great being a Raiders fan. It's one of those Colorado Rockies situations, right? Where you get a guy really excited about him, and then you trade him. Whenever he becomes a fan favorite, that's when you trade him. Right?
It's always entertaining, that's for sure. There's a reason the Raiders went to Las Vegas, apparently.
That's one word for it.
They are entertainment.
All right. Well, the CFL draft starts tomorrow, so we'll, or I guess tomorrow American time as we record this. So we'll talk about that one next week.
Yeah.
We were thinking about doing a preview, but there's so much to talk about. Gee, can you tell me what's happening in the NHL? I understand. I understand that the Kings went out ignominiously. I saw they lost 5-1 in the elimination game. Ouch.
Yep. That was they, as expected, they barely put on any kind of a fight at all.
Mm-hmm. That's not that shocking. I was going to use that for the Mammoth, actually, because I saw that the Mammoth went up on the your beloved Golden Knights 2-1, but aren't they winning as we speak?
The Golden Knights were winning 3-0 about 10 minutes ago, and now it's 3-2. So hang on tight.
So plenty of time there.
Yeah.
What happened in the Buffalo-Boston game?
Oh my!
The other day. Yeah, this
Buffalo
has been a weird series.
Buffalo is manhandling the Boston Bruins, and to be honest, I picked Buffalo to win, and I think a lot of other people did too. But I don't think they thought it would come this easy,
right?
Because that game the other night was a spanking. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, ugly. After the first
period. So Buffalo is up 3-1 on Boston now. So it's looking like they'll probably close that out tomorrow because they will be in Buffalo, and that place is going to be a madhouse.
Yep. Anything else surprising you? Anything else changing the flavor of these playoffs for you?
There's a few series that are really tight and really entertaining. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh played tonight. Pittsburgh won, so they're coming back in that series. They were down 3-0, and now it's 3-2, and they're actually making these games pretty close, pretty tight, and they're tight checking, and it's really entertaining. I watched the end of the game here, and man, it was exciting. Another tight series, Dallas and Minnesota. Minnesota won the other night, so that series is 2-2, coming back to Dallas now. Montreal and Tampa Bay, I believe, have gone to overtime 3 or 4 of their games now.
Yeah.
That series is intense. That's intense.
Been a hell of a series. Yeah.
Man. As mentioned, the Mammoth are up on the Knights 2-1, so we'll see how that plays out tonight.
And the Ducks? The Ducks are 3-1 on the Oilers.
The Ducks are up 3-1 on the Oilers. Yeah. Man. This is the first time the Ducks have been in the playoffs, I think, in 8 years or 9 years, and they're certainly not showing it.
They haven't had.
They're getting hot goaltending. They're getting really hot goaltending, and as with the last 2 seasons, the Edmonton Oilers stars, they're not producing. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are pretty much non-existent in these playoffs. So I don't know what happens to them in the playoffs, but they just seem to disappear.
Well, isn't that what it's all about anyway? Isn't the NHL playoffs really comes down to goaltending? I mean,
Hmm.
I've heard this said many times, right? It's all
Yeah.
about who is the best goaltender in the playoffs, right? That's who
Yeah.
wins, right? So, um, but yeah, there needs to be more hours in the day so I could, pay more attention to this Montreal Tampa Bay series. Because man,
No. Yeah.
every time every time I look at that, the game highlights, the shortened games, it's just wow. What a great series. What a great
The
series. And I'm
yeah,
buoyed by the fact that Tampa Bay might go down, especially to a
I
Canadian.
know.
That'd be
I know,
great.
right?
Be great. So sick of them. So sick of them.
Now,
I marginally follow hockey, and I'm tired of the friggin' Bay Lightning.
now,
Jesus.
as a Canadian, I wish it wasn't Montreal because
Oh God.
Montreal's my least favorite team out of all of them. But
Oh yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. I mean,
um,
I have a friend I have a Canadian friend, and his line on this is, look, no team south of the Mason Dixon. That's it. That's the end of the story. You cannot have teams in the South, right? At this point, that would eliminate a good, one third of the league. But you can kind of see the point. It's not like there's a great hockey tradition in Florida. You know,
mhm.
they don't play much hockey down there. So,
It's
um,
like that franchise scoring record that Mark Stone took over
oh
last
god,
week.
oh
Franchise playoff scoring leader.
oh god, for the Las Vegas Knights, yeah, fantastic. That rich history of the.
The highlight for me of these Stanley Cup playoffs so far is the Ottawa Senators being eliminated in 4 games because I can't stand Brady Tkachuk or Matt. So I'm excited to see them out. Uh, yeah, I mean it's certainly gonna. A few of these series I think are gonna go 7 games, and sadly I think a couple more will be over tomorrow. So
Yep,
see,
and then you get that big advantage, right? Oh
yeah,
yeah, X team is going to be rusty because they swept. Yeah, well, they swept,
yeah,
so
will
they're
they?
also good.
I don't
They're also
know.
going to be rested, right? So,
True. True.
that can be a huge advantage. That sweep. I mean, that's what I'm looking at right now in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So go on with the NBA. Let's
all
hear it.
right, let's see if we can do this quickly. Everybody wants to complain about load management and whatever, but once again this year, it happens from time to time. I feel like injuries, either late season injuries or in playoff injuries, are really checkering this playoffs a little bit. And so, some of these teams have a right to be concerned.
Hmm.
Um, all right, let me run through. I've got a sentence or two on each of these things. Um, Last time we were on the show, I was a bit shocked because while I was sleeping, the Celtics had lost to the 76ers. I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised because the Boston Celtics are the ultimate live by the three, die by the three team. And I went back and I looked at that game, and, shocker, they went 18 of 50 on 3-pointers.
Hey.
Okay, you're going to lose. You're going to lose, even to a team like the 76ers playing without their franchise player, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid came back in this series, didn't matter. It's one of these situations where, much like what's happening in Detroit, Embiid looks fine, but the offense has been accustomed to playing without him. And so it's a challenge to reincorporate the man into the lineup. And against a team like the Celtics, it's just you can't afford to mess around like that. The Celtics are
Mhm.
the number 2 seed, probably should be the number 1 seed. Um, you know, you can't pull this. Oh, give us a couple of games to adjust. No, that's not going to happen. So the Celtics are up 3-1, should close it out soon. Um, I guess the Canadian team, the Raptors, pulled off a shocker on Sunday night,
Yeah.
squeaking past the Cavaliers to make it 3-1. But should be short work of that one. I'm going to confess, of all the series, I've watched this one the least. I've seen very little of this series. Cavs Raptors. I'm waiting for the Cavs to face an elimination game. I can't wait. I can't wait for the James Harden meltdown, the tradition like no other. um, Speaking of, I was speaking about injuries before. Well, in that Spurs Trailblazers series, well, Victor Wembanyama, the alien, had just about the fiercest looking concussion I've ever seen in an NBA game. This dude literally hit the floor face first and was knocked out
Oh,
literally.
I
He
didn't
was
see that.
unconscious. Yeah. This was towards the end of game 2. All right. So, concussion protocol for game 3, no matter. The rest of the Spurs stepped up, did a nice job. Wembanyama comes back. It's like he was never gone. Goes for 27. Vicente Fox went for 28. De'Aaron Fox, I'm sorry, went for 28. San Antonio's up 3-1. No surprise there. I guess, we expected Portland to play San Antonio tough. So I guess the 4-1 result that's inevitably going to come is what we expected. I mean, not too surprising. But if Wembanyama had been lost for a couple more games, this playoffs might have had a different flavor just because of that. Okay, shocker on Saturday night. Oklahoma City beat Phoenix in a close one, only by 13 points, which is about as close as Phoenix is going to get against the Thunder. Wow. The Thunder, I believe, are now getting minus odds to win the championship. Probably still a good bet because, man, this team is a machine. The Spurs are not exactly flawed, but I'm not sure that they're on the level of OKC. Still looking ahead to that San Antonio OKC Western Championship. Let's talk about this one. Okay, so, well, I got to go to my Lakers here. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Game 3. Okay, so I'm sitting there watching this thing. All right. The Rockets. Okay. Oh, so I guess I should say, because I'm talking about injuries, Kevin Durant missed game 1 due to some injury in practice. Got injured in game 2. So was out for game 3. Didn't even show up to the game to sit on the bench. Right? And so, yeah. So some controversy here, as Kevin Durant has had for half the season now. So we're wondering about this. Game 3, okay, Houston comes back against the Lakers. The Lakers are a team that throws away a lot of leads in the third, fourth quarter. And so they did it again. 26 seconds, okay? The Rockets are up by 6. LeBron James, for the second consecutive possession, throws the ball away, right? Turns it over. Okay? So, I'm literally turning off the game, okay, as they're bringing the ball up court. But Marcus Smart, who has been the Swiss Army knife for this team, former Defensive Player of the Year, he's done everything for us. He's done all the dirty work. Steals the pass, all right? Williams, who had thrown it away, comes back up, hacks him. And so he manages to throw up the worst 3-point shot ever, but continuation foul, right? So Marcus Smart gets 3 free throws, makes them all. Okay? So now it's 3 points. The Rockets are bringing it out of bounds. And on the previous 2 possessions, LeBron was gassed. I mean, he's doing the thing where he's grabbing his knees, bending over, not even getting back on defense. He's so beat. All right. This time, Rockets are taking the ball out. LeBron is playing full court defense. Okay? Sure enough, guy gets around him, but LeBron chases after him, smacks the ball out from behind, right? Gets it to Smart. Smart feeds it up the court. LeBron for 3, ties it up. Game goes into overtime. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, that was incredible. I've done this before, especially in football, where it's like, this game's over. I turn it off. Next day, I look at the score. I was like, what? What
What?
happened there? So, man, I couldn't believe it. And, I'm sitting here watching this game at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. My poor daughter, who had taken the train from university the night before, came in at like 10, 11 p.m. She's sleeping. I'm sitting there going, yes, yes. I'm like, and then later on, she gets up, comes in and goes, what were you yelling about? I'm sorry, but man, this is why we watch the games. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, the Lakers dropped game 4. Wasn't too surprised. I mean, these guys are trashed at this point. And everything has been working well for the Lakers in this series. All the role players are stepping up. Everybody's playing their best game. I mean, Bronny James had 5 points in game 3. He played it towards the end of the second half in clutch minutes and got, a 3-pointer and a jam. I mean, even Bronny James looks like a stud for this team. Not too surprising in last game 4, but the news that Lakers fans have been waiting for, Austin Reeves will likely come back for game 5. We are stoked. I'm not sure why Lakers fans are so thrilled. I mean, it's great to win in the playoffs, but Jesus, we get the Thunder next round. We get the Thunder next round, and it doesn't look like league leading scorer Luka Doncic is going to be back. Probably not for the rest of the season, to be honest. So I mean, nobody expected the Lakers to win in round 1. So I guess as Lakers fans, we've got to take pride in this. But I mean, and wow, I mean, LeBron, LeBron has just become legendary in this round of the playoffs. Even we don't even need to talk about the comeback. He has been. I mean, again, like I said last time, he's been LeBron of 15 years ago. Leading a team of nearly unknowns, in the playoffs, single-handedly. Just been amazing. But anyway, the real headliner of this NBA playoffs has been Denver, Minnesota. Now, this is a team that's faced off, I think, 4 times in the last 5 years in the playoffs. Minnesota, of course, has knocked them off the last couple of years, made it to the Western Conference Finals. These two teams are really building up a rivalry. And in game 4, oh my God, intense game in game 4. T-Wolves are already up 2-1, playing in Minnesota, game 4. In the first quarter, they lose DiVincenzo, who was the hero of game 2. Lose him in the first quarter. In the second quarter, lose Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards goes down, the franchise player. After the game, it has been revealed that both of these guys are done. Done for the series. All right. Done for the year. It's a real, I don't know what they can do. However, the T-Wolves still win game 3, introducing to the nation Aso Dosumo. Okay. Now, this guy has been playing in the league for 5 years. He spent his early part of his career after his drafting with the Chicago Bulls. Nobody knows who he is. This dude put up 43 points in 42 minutes off the bench. This guy's like 8th, 9th guy off the bench, right? Really taking over for Minnesota. I guess Denver just didn't game plan for this guy. Who knew, right? Literally, this is his career high in the NBA. It's just coming in because of key injuries and, just taking over. I really don't think we'll see that in game 5. The game ended with a brawl. It just goes to show how much these teams don't like each other. You got to give props to Julius Randle, who had the guts to, talk some trash and back it up with Nikola Jokic, who is a very large, very intense Serbian guy. I would not have had the guts to take him on, but Randall was feeling it. Maybe, feeling upset at the Edwards injury, broke out into a brawl, double ejection with a minute and a half left to play. So it really didn't affect the game very much.
Yeah. I
But
want to now I want to ask you,
yeah,
because I was going to ask you about this, and since you're already talking about it, sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, go for it.
what are your thoughts on Daniels going for that layup when they're already ahead by what, 14, 15 points?
They just don't like. They just don't like the Nuggets. They don't. They don't. They don't. These two teams really don't like each other. It's pretty wild because we're seeing this come back into the NBA. You know, for so long the NBA has been this league where, oh yes, this is an intense competition, and then after the game the guys are hugging each other, you know, making plans to, go to Tijuana in the off season or whatever. You know, I mean, it's just like, so it's nice to see. We're seeing this with Denver versus Minnesota. We're seeing this, well, we have seen it in the regular season, but we will see it in the playoffs, San Antonio and Oklahoma City. I mean, it's nice. I mean, when teams don't like each other like this. And I don't know if that was a humiliation thing or he was just still in fourth gear, but I don't know. Denver has no reason to complain. Now, I will say that Denver is not that kind of team. Okay. Denver doesn't do stuff like that. They don't run up the score. They're happy with the win. But I think that this was just frustration at losing to these Timberwolves again. Yeah. The Nuggets really believe that they're the better team. But, I don't know. It's just I guess it's just the matchups. And I'll tell you what, the Nuggets have at points, they finished the season strong after losing to the Lakers. But I just feel like Denver, through the whole second half of the season, the defense was slack. They just weren't D'ing up like they had in the past. Jokic, maybe he's a little bit tired, but he hasn't been invincible in this series at all. He's looked a bit slow. He's made some bad passes that doesn't normally make. So, I think it's just on the part of the Nuggets, it's just frustration. I don't think the layup is any big deal. I think he was just still playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I don't. I'm not a Nuggets fan, so I'm not going to get too up in arms about it, but I think they took it too seriously. The Nuggets just need to concentrate on winning 3 straight, which they really could do and should do. And unfortunately, then they're going to draw the San Antonio Spurs, and it's all going to be moot anyway. So
Yeah,
really,
I'm not gonna give away any scores, but 3 series could end tonight.
Yeah. Oh, sure, you can give away the scores. Oh, yes, and I guess I should say, I don't know if you can't be talking about this series, but the weird one, of course, has been Detroit versus Orlando. I mean, here's Orlando, quite possibly one of the worst teams ever to make the NBA playoffs. And yet here's Detroit, and it's a case of subtraction through addition. Here they're putting up Cade Cunningham, who was for most of the season an MVP candidate, probably, and it sounds weird to say this, probably the best American player in the NBA this year was Cade Cunningham. And he comes back, he looks fine, but this offense just isn't adjusting. Right? They've gotten used to playing without Cade. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Detroit has always been, this is a bad boys style Pistons team. They are very physical. They will mess you up underneath. Well, the Magic don't seem to be disturbed by this. Well, they seem willing to play this ugly game. And it's bizarre. I mean, that's really been the shocker of the tournament. And if Detroit doesn't regroup, even if they win this thing in 7 games, that's trouble in the second round. Mm-hmm. I just don't see much of a future for Detroit. Detroit may be, if not one of the worst, certainly one of the most disappointing number 1 seeds we've had in a long time in this tournament. I mean, just wow. We're going to spend most of the offseason saying they didn't deserve to win their division. They didn't deserve to win the Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
So,
I was thinking that game was still in progress, but no, Orlando has won, so
yeah, they
they're
won
leading 3-1.
3-1. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. Oh my
Crazy.
God. Makes no sense. But, I mean, we went into this playoffs going, yeah, it's Boston. I mean, literally, Boston was the only Eastern team in the top 5 of the odds table to win the championship. Uh, they entered the playoffs as a minus favorite to win the East. I mean, ultimately, it's not going to be much of a surprise. Along the way, yeah, we might see some upsets, but Jesus, I mean, the path is there for Boston. The Celtics have
Mhm.
no reason not to be in the finals this year. The West, one might argue, is still a question. I mean, it would be shocking to see Minnesota stumble their way to the Western Conference final again, but who knows? Who knows? But in the East, I feel like it's already a moot decision. Celtics. So, but man, Detroit, they're gonna have some soul searching this summer for sure if they lose this one.
Insane. Well, that about wraps up playoffs
Yep.
for now,
Yep. For this
anyway.
week. Yep. Next week
Next week,
more.
next week we're gonna have a whole lot of results, so a
Yep.
whole lot of teams moving on, I'm sure. So we'll
Yeah, we'll talk
definitely
second
be,
round next week.
yeah, we'll be talking second round next week. Why don't you inform the
Okay.
hipsters about Royal Retros?
Oh, we're gonna do Royal Retros first, of course. I was getting ready to do the segment. All right. So Shots from the Hip, and really most of the Shotgun Sports Network is sponsored by Royal Retros at royalretros.com. When Royal Retros says retros, they mean retro memorabilia. You can get your baseball caps, your jerseys, your t-shirts, your long sleeve shirts, hoodies, jackets, and the proverbial much more at their online shop. Royal Retros has the gear and paraphernalia representing dozens of teams from defunct leagues and still current leagues, such as the USFL, the Arena Football League, the World Football League, the XFL 1.0, Football Canada, various pro hockey leagues, including the WHA, Go Nordiques, ABA basketball, and for me, the really selling point, the baseball gear. Of course, we're talking about defunct teams like the St. Louis Browns. Ooh, more on them later in the show. And the Seattle Pilots, but also from those old Negro League teams and Pacific Coast League teams. Some really sweet stuff. I love the Oakland Oaks gear that they have, for example. Best of all, hipsters can get 10% off anything in the store when using your promo code SFTH, that's shots from the hip, at checkout on all gear, any amount. 10% off at royalretros.com with promo code SFTH. Get your retro gear today.
And of course, we also are sponsored by Rampage Coffee Company. They have partnered with us to keep all of our hipsters caffeinated. They don't just do coffee, they also have barbecue rubs, which are coffee flavored. I was looking the other day and it's a coffee flavored barbecue rub,
Okay,
which is interesting.
that
And
makes
they
sense.
also have a full line of merch like hats, mugs, t-shirts, stickers, etc. You can head on over to the link in the video notes below and use the code HIP10 for 10% off your order. I'm going to forego the little commission that we're going to get for that sale right now, and I'm going to tell all our hipsters a secret right now. Right now, all their bundles are on for 20% off. So
Oh,
if you go
nice.
on the website, you can get their bundles for 20%, their sample bundles for 20% off. And we don't get any kickback for that. But hey, I just want you guys to try this stuff because it's great stuff. And then when you come back next time, then use the code HIP10.
Then enter the code.
And enter the code
Right.
HIP10 for
Excellent.
10% off of your order.
Mhm. Nice.
Rampage Coffee Company. Nice little
Woo-hoo.
Saskatchewan company.
All right. Yeah, but don't hold it against them. Right?
Yeah, they grow the things than wheat there apparently. Maybe they
Yep.
grow coffee there. I had no idea.
Yeah, great. Yeah, the great coffee tradition of Saskatchewan. Wow, I suspect they're probably importing.
Maybe.
Yeah, I suspect. Right. Do you have a segue for this? Do you have a bumper music for
I
this?
don't, but we should make one. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
one. I'm gonna make
Okay.
it a point to make one for this.
There we go.
It's the premiere segment.
Right. Yeah. This is our flagship segment here. Let's do the intro. Discuss, debate, defer on Shots from the Hip. All right. Let's talk about this. The name
Here's Jason and Oz.
Right. Again, they never left. Here's our flagship segment, as we like to call it. The 3 Ds or the 4 Ds. Discuss, debate, defer, or delete. What I will do is this week I will give Jason 3 topics and he will choose whether to discuss, debate, defer, or delete these topics. All sports related, of course. All right. Topic number 1. Connor McDavid, who you name dropped earlier, closed out the regular season with a 4-assist game and led the NHL in scoring for the 6th time. So I wanted to get the hockey fans' perspective. Where does he rank among the greats of hockey history at this point in his career?
Mm-hmm.
Question number 2, or topic number 2. How much do postseason play and championship rings matter to a given player's legacy? Right. As you can guess, this is LeBron James inspired. And topic number 3, what's worse for the fan? Your team getting blown out in an important game or choking one away? Those are your topics. Discuss, debate, defer, delete. What do you say, Jason?
That's funny because I thought that second one about the championship, do championship rings matter? I thought that was also Connor McDavid centered.
Right, it could be. It could be.
I'm going to I don't like to delete topics because you never know when they might be handy to come back around. So let's just defer. The worst for the fan.
Really?
Blown out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I to be honest, I couldn't. Number 1, I prepared for the other 2.
Okay.
And then by the time I got to the third one, I was like, I've already prepared for the other 2, and this one's kind of a toss-up for me because it's hard to pick. So
giving
let's
us a
defer
behind the scenes glance at the creative process. They're very nice. All
yeah.
right. Okay. Well, what about these other 2?
Let's discuss Connor McDavid and where he ranks among historical greats.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I'm gonna need a drink of water for this, maybe.
All right. Cheers. All right.
Now, Connor McDavid has already been touted by multiple broadcasters and on-air personalities and podcasters as the best player in the game right now. Some have said the best player to ever play the game. I debate that, but where he ranks probably depends on how you weigh his dominance right now in the league versus career accomplishments. Of course, he's right now he would stand, in my mind, probably. I don't think he'd be top 10 all time. I'd put him above top 10.
Wow.
I mean, he's already done enough to be ranked among the greats of all time. He's got multiple Art Ross trophies, which is the trophy given out for the scoring title. I think this year will be his 6th, I believe.
Yep.
Hart trophies as the league MVP. I'm not sure how many of those he has. I know he's got at least 2 or 3, I'm sure.
Oh, breaking news. Let's get in this really quick. Breaking news. Vegas has tied it up 3-3. Vegas versus Utah.
You mean Utah has tied it up?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Vegas
Utah.
Damn it.
3-3. Yeah.
Yeah. We're breaking the news here, folks.
Yeah, 16:55 in the third.
Of course,
As we
by the
speak.
time you watch this, it'll all be
No,
over. So
old news. Old news, right? Okay. So
now let's go peak versus peak and compare
yes.
his peak to that of Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr. Um, Scoring dominance. I mean, he's putting up numbers that I don't believe Lemieux and Gretzky put up. I mean, I know Gretzky had a 212-point season once, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides that, not a lot have come close. Um, Speed, like he's got speed like no player I've ever seen before. Like he's got speed bursts of 35 to 40 kilometers an hour on the ice.
Mm,
And he's not just doing that in a straight line. He's like handling the puck with that.
mhm.
So just the speed and intensity is unmatched by anybody I've ever seen, honestly. Um, so the thing that doesn't put him into the top 10 in my mind and boost him up there with the greats is, of course, his lack of Stanley Cups. Um,
Okay.
he's been there the last 2 years, but hasn't been able to get it done. And not only that, he's pretty much been non-existent in the scoring. So that
Mhm.
is one huge factor which may be holding him back from being considered, the greatest of all time, or even in the top 10 or 5 of greatest of all time, which leads us to the next topic.
Mhm.
But before we get to the next topic, what are your thoughts?
Um, well, I'm not a huge hockey guy. However,
Mhm.
Connor McDavid, like Gretzky back in the day, kind of like LeBron James in his day, came into this league as the savior, right? Came into the league as this guy's going to be awesome. Number
Mhm.
one pick, wasn't he? He was the number one pick in the
Oh,
draft, wasn't he?
oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So, like a LeBron James, one of these guys, or Wayne Gretzky, one of these guys who's anointed as, a stud before he even gets there. And
Mhm.
he's lived up to it.
Mhm.
Again, first 6 seasons leading the league in scoring, that's Gretzky esque, right?
Mhm.
That's like Wayne. I don't know if Gretzky played his first year in the World Hockey Association when he was like 16 or something crazy
Mhm.
like this. So I don't know. I don't know much about that year, but I do know. And I mean, this was Gretzky was coming up in those times when Michael Jordan was dominating the NBA. So of course, that comparison was always there. You know, and I really, by the way, on the whole all-time great thing, I really blame Michael Jordan for this because Michael Jordan came in and we were automatically comparing him to the greatest of all time. And since then, in the NBA, it's all been who's going to be the next Jordan. And in sports in general, it's been this rush of, oh, yes, we must quantify the players of our era as the greatest ever. All right. It's like a FOMO thing, fear of missing out, right? Oh, well, I wasn't alive to see Babe Ruth, but here's Barry Bonds. He's better, right? He's the greatest of all time, right? Because I was alive to see it. So, in that respect, Connor McDavid must be considered, right? People who know a lot more than I do about hockey knew that this guy was going to be, you know, King Connor,
Mhm.
you ever since the start, and he's lived up to it. Now, how long was it before Gretzky got the title?
He got the title in his fourth year, I believe, with the
Fourth.
Oilers.
Okay.
Fourth or fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was pretty notable because wasn't that the first Edmonton Cup, or at least in
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
really long time?
Yeah.
Right. So there's more of the. I guess we're going to talk about rings in a minute. Um,
That was the first cup of 4 in a row.
Yep, right, right, exactly. He went on that run. Now, of course, but you would also agree that the NHL, like most other North American sports, has a lot more parity than it used to,
Mhm.
right? I mean, what was the last great hockey dynasty? I mean, maybe the friggin' Lightning, yeah, because they won a few
Yeah.
years in a row. I mean, but
Well,
that doesn't really compare
that
to like
depends
the
what we call a dynasty. That
right,
goes back to the great
right.
dynasty debate, right?
Right. But I mean, this run was nothing like the Canadiens of the '70s or the
Hmm.
4-year Oilers. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like
Hmm.
that. So there's a lot more parity now. So you can see why McDavid, doesn't have those rings yet. Maybe, but Jesus, the Oilers were in the finals twice in a row, right?
Hmm.
They've been
Hmm.
in the they've been in that final series a couple of times. So,
Now,
um, so just my gut feeling. I mean, I'm sure he's one of the all-time greats, but it's been 6 years, right? So it's not enough yet. It's one of those situations where it's like, okay, it's like Patrick Mahomes, right? Let's say Patrick Mahomes retires after his first 6 years as a starter. Is he still Hall of Famer? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, making the AFC Championship game 5 times in a row, Super Bowl 4 of those 5 years. I mean, that's pretty pretty impressive.
okay.
But all time great, we don't know. We don't know. So I always hesitate to pull the trigger on this stuff. But it seems that McDavid is in the conversation. You know
Well,
already.
just to give you a little bit of perspective, Connor
Mhm.
McDavid's highest point total in a season is 153.
Right.
That places him 11th.
Mhm.
In the top 10, Wayne Gretzky appears five times. Mario Lemieux appears 4 times, and Steve Yzerman once. So, I mean, you got Gretzky at number 1 with 215 points, number 2 at
Wow.
208, 205, 196. So, I mean, McDavid's not even in the top 10 in regards to season point totals.
Okay,
But
but
does that matter?
but over the 6 years, you say as high as what, 156?
Yeah.
Okay. But over those 6 years, his average is 142 almost.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's consistency. You know, that's pretty impressive. I mean, in essentially what this means is he's good for 150 to 130 to 150 a year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
He's
pretty
he's
nice.
actually
Pretty
he
nice.
was actually drafted in 2015, so he's been around for 10 years now.
Really? Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
just looking at the last 6 years. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah,
time
he's been
time
around for
flies.
10 years.
Time flies. Okay, I was just
Yeah.
looking at the
Yeah.
previous 6 years.
Just
Uh,
just to give
okay.
Oiler fans a scare, his career is half over.
Mm. And he still hasn't won a title. Hey, maybe he can come to
Not
Los Angeles.
yet.
Come to the Kings. Come to the Kings. Come on.
He'll
We'll trade
replace
you for 6 picks. We'll trade you. You know, like we did for Gretzky. Bring your wife. Come to LA. It's great out here. Okay. So, well, let's segue into the rings then. All
Hmm.
right. So you want to debate this? Um, I don't know. Do you think that is ring culture legitimate?
I say no.
Okay.
I don't believe rings matter.
Okay.
The number one reason I say that is because I was a huge Dan Marino fan. And Dan Marino is not only probably the greatest quarterback to not win a Super Bowl, he's probably the greatest quarterback ever in my books.
Really?
Oh God.
Really? Wow.
Well, that's
Wow.
just because I was a fan. I might be a bit biased.
Well, yeah. Okay. So that's the question, right? So in terms of physical gifts, yeah, Marino might be number one. But, everybody always says we talked Mount Rushmore, Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not the most physically gifted, probably not even as much of a stud as Peyton
Yeah.
Manning was at the time. But leadership, smarts is a big one. Just adaptability to adapt your game.
Mhm.
And all the championships, right?
Yeah.
That means something.
Now,
Um,
obviously winning titles is the fastest way to elevate you into the all-time conversation.
Right.
Tom Brady and Michael Jordan didn't just win, they defined winning.
Yep.
They won, and they won often.
Yep. Yeah, but okay.
uh,
But you also have the interesting thing in hoops. They actually award this prize now called the Clutch Award, right?
oh.
The thing is, there's at least a couple of guys here who have a quasi Hall of Fame case based mostly on post game heroics. That's
Mhm.
Robert Ory, right? Known for his clutch shooting for a few teams, right? The Lakers, of course, being one of them. But a lot of the Rockets prior to that, the Akeem Olajuwon title-winning Rockets. Robert Ory has, I think, 6 titles, and a lot of it is not as a starter.
Yeah.
He's just big shot Rob, right?
Mhm.
The other one is Jimmy Butler, who, just kind of, I wouldn't say lays low during the regular season, but he's not flying off the screen at you. Then he goes into the playoffs and he turns into a beast. He's averaging something like 30 points a game in the playoffs. He's got Jordan numbers, and he led a number 8 seed Miami to the championship series against Denver. They lost, but they could have beat the Celtics that one year if not for a single missed 3-pointer. They almost upset the top-ranked Celtics. This Butler goes to a different level in the playoffs, same as Robert Ory. They go to a different level in the playoffs. Now, does that mean that Robert Ory is better than, say, Charles Barkley? I don't think so. but I don't know. You say championships don't matter. I think that they do. I think that's what ultimately differentiates you from the other superstars of your era. Now, it's tough to talk about the 90s because, of course, for 8 years, if your name was not Michael Jordan or Hakeem Olajuwon, you were not on a championship team. Who lost to the Bulls? Well, you had Clyde Drexler and the Trailblazers.
Mhm.
Those great Seattle Supersonics team lost one year. Barkley and the Suns lost one year. John Stockton, the all-time assist leader, and Karl Malone, one of the top 5 points scored leaders of all time, lost twice. I mean, they were just the Rockets took out both Shaquille O'Neal's young Orlando Magic and Patrick Ewing's old New York Knicks. I mean, viable contenders all around, but because of the greatness of Jordan and Olajuwon, nobody could break through. I think that means something. I think that basketball is a team game, but it's a kind of game where one player can dominate. Right? But the best way for one player to dominate, as LeBron James is showing, is to facilitate your teammates. That's part of being a great player, and that talent is necessary to win the championship. So I think I can reverse engineer this basically. I can say, yes, rings do matter because they indicate greatness. Would be my argument for that. I could also make the argument against it. I mean, again, Charles Barkley is one of my favorite basketball players, and he never won the title. So,
Well,
you could make the argument the other way, but
let me mention a few names here.
okay.
Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, Fran Tarkington, Warren Moon, Steve McNair, Randall Cunningham, never won Super Bowls.
Well, okay.
Are they not great?
Few things though. Warren Moon dominated the CFL. Right.
This
so
is true.
That matters.
This is true.
Okay? So I'm going to take that one out. Jim Kelly won a championship in the USFL. And the truth is that the Buffalo Bills dominated the AFC for the early 90s. They did. They were the best team. They were a couple of those years, they were the best team in the NFL. I mean, blame it on Norwood. The reason why Kelly doesn't have an NFL championship is because Scott Norwood misses the easy chip shot.
This is true.
I mean, so that gets the asterisk. But again, Jim Kelly won the USFL. So I think that matters. I think that matters. And Warren Moon just, I mean, come on now. Come on now. What he did in the CFL was so worth, anything in the NFL. It's kind of like Doug Flutie. Yeah, Doug Flutie was never a stud in the NFL, but Jesus, he was awesome in the CFL. So that counts. That counts. I would take Moon off the board and even Kelly off the board. But, okay, look at John Elway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I was
Yeah.
in Albuquerque for most of Elway's career. I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The home team there is Denver. Okay, so I got a lot of exposure to Elway, and my God, every time the playoffs come around, jokes about choking, like I remember the one where it was like this one will date me. It's a good cultural reference, and we can joke about this now. It's like, oh yeah, did you hear that John Elway was he's getting a part in the O.J. Simpson biopic? Yeah. They need somebody to play the part of a slow white Bronco. Right? There you go. See, jokes like that until he got Terrell Davis. And they won the 2 Super Bowls, and he went out like a champ, which you really have to love about Elway. Now, if he doesn't win those 2 Super Bowls, how do we talk about this guy now? You have to say, yeah, there's Tom Brady, but, Elway was more physically gifted, da-da-da-da-da-da. But those 2 championships really showed that how adaptable he was, because again, they shifted to a run-heavy offense and leadership qualities, right? I mean, I think for a quarterback, you have to talk about championship rings. You have to. It's such a heavy leadership position, that, and the importance of the game is so dependent. I mean, the game is so dependent on the importance of the position. I think in that case, you have to include championships as part of the retinue, as part of the resume.
But those are also those are also heavy team sports. Like those depend on rosters that are being constructed, right?
Yeah, football is a specialist.
Marino had nothing.
Well, I mean, come on, he had Super Duper.
Mark Duper and Mark Clayton.
Yeah, he had decent receivers. He had decent runners some years. I mean, but what's his excuse? I mean, Tom Brady is competing for Super Bowls with Rashay Caldwell as his top receiver. I mean, come on now.
That's true.
What's your excuse? I mean,
I'm not debating Brady.
I mean, we got the Rams got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. Yeah. Come on now. There's, I mean, yeah, Marino has these seasons where he throws for 60 or whatever, but I mean, there's something to be said for
Seahawks got to the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold.
Yep,
and won.
And of course, there's the Trent Dilfer example, but of the Baltimore Ravens. But these are asterisk seasons. There are some teams that win the Super Bowl based on defense, right? Denver Broncos over Carolina, with the corpse of Peyton Manning at quarterback. The Ravens in year 2000 with Trent Dilfer quarterback. Yeah, okay. Sometimes you can win on defense, but guess what? We remember Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is elevated because the Ravens won that Super Bowl. He was a dominant defensive player. But you don't take notice until they win that Super Bowl. They don't. My boy, Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico. Yeah, he already has a storied career. Yeah, Hall of Famer. But if the Bears had won that Super Bowl against the Colts, Urlacher would be on all-time teams. I'm convinced of it. He would be great. He would be one of the all-time greats. Right? But they didn't win the Super Bowl. So, I think it matters. I think it matters.
Interesting.
I do.
Interesting. What do you think, hipsters?
Let us know in the comments.
Let's put it to the hipsters.
Exactly.
Don't bet on the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, God, no.
They're done.
Yeah. Oh, is it over?
It's over. Yeah.
Final score?
OKC has moved on. 131-122.
Oh my God. That means my awesome Thunder win every game by 10 points. Loses by 1 point. Ouch.
9 points.
Oh my God. Oh, that was a great bet. Oh,
of course, the Magic beat the Pistons. Magic lead 3-1. Right now, with 5 minutes left, the Nuggets are beating the Timberwolves 109-96. And in the NHL, Utah and Vegas are in overtime, 4-4.
Wow.
Man.
What a grueling series. Grueling series that turned out to be. Good one.
So probably what's going to happen now is I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to go sit on the couch and prepare to watch it. And as soon as I turn it on, it's going to be over.
All right. Yeah. Get out of here to the hipsters. Hey, enjoy the playoffs. And we'll be here next week talking more playoffs and CFL draft, among other things.
You got it. Have a great week.